Great. All right, good evening. It is Tuesday, March 18th at 7 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order, considering we have quorum either online or here in person. We'll start with roll call. Commissioner Jones. I think she's outside right now. Should be in shortly. Commissioner Sani.
Present.
Commissioner Sani is present. Commissioner Williams. Nope. Commissioner Williams is not present. Commissioner Galvan present. Commissioner Anderson. I see you online, Commissioner Anderson, but I do not hear you. We'll move to the next. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
I am here. Hello.
Hello, hello. And Commissioner Zenjon.
Present.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm present, John Anderson.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Anderson. All right, we have 5 out of the 7 commissioners. We have quorum, so we will get started. We'll start with approval of the agenda. I know we got a packed agenda tonight, and see if there are any requests from commissioners for changes to the agenda. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, you are recognized.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to move to suspend the rules to consider as item 11B, consideration of a grant of $1,275 to Friends of the Metropolitan Branch Trail, and to add under item 9, a presentation by Friends of the Metropolitan Branch Trail.
I'll second that.
Great. Are there any objections? Seeing none, hearing none, we will we'll go with all in favor. Say aye.
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 All in favor, say nay. In the eyes of the chair, the ayes have it. That has been added to the agenda for item 11B, and then a presentation thereafter as part of 12. Commissioner Anderson, I see you have your hand raised. You have any additional?
Yes, I've heard from our representative from Councilmember Parker's office that he, because our meeting conflicts with ANC 5E, he just requested if he could move his presentation to later in the agenda. Unclear when he's able to join, but I will let if it's okay with the chair, I'll let you know once he has arrived and add him to the agenda at that point in time, or under other presentations.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think other reports or presentations make sense. Is that
Great.
Is that all right?
That works.
Is there a second?
A second.
Second.
By Commissioner Sani. Any objections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, say nay. In the eyes of the chair, the ayes have it. So, Councilmember Parker's representative Sam Bonner will be moved to other reports or presentations. Are there any other requests from commissioners for changes to the agenda? Commissioner Anderson, your hand is still raised. Is there others you wanted to change?
Nope, I'm lowering my hand.
Okay. I have one that was a late email that came today from the representative from Shalja Nair and Vijals Kami Lillian for a BZA variance on Channing Street Northeast. Have requested to move that to, that to be stricken from the agenda and be added to the next meeting in April timeframe. Are there any seconds? Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Any objections? Realize we don't have to do a necessarily roll call. Yes, Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Yes, I had a question on 12B, which is a presentation on the Harry Thomas Rec Center renovation. I think we have a resolution about that, so I was just wondering whether that should be in 9 rather than in 12, or if it's not related.
Yeah, it's a good question. Commissioner Zenjon, you had mentioned having this discussion on the Harry Thomas Recreation Center. I did, just for reference, I did reach out to DPR for that presentation, but they did not reply back.
Right.
Would you like to move that up to discuss it with the group before?
I think we can table it. I think we can combine the two. So I think the resolution is the most important part, and getting a presentation from them. Again, everything is in flux right now with the budget, and so I think we table that.
Okay. Okay, so the request and clarification from Commissioner Bishop Henchman and Commissioner Zenjon is to strike the Harry Thomas Recreation Center renovation from 12B. Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Do you have any objections? All right, no objections. All right, that will be struck from the agenda. All right, let's see. Any other items from commissioners for changes to the agenda? All right. Oh, I see Commissioner Williams has shown up. Commissioner Williams, are you present? Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I hear you well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. We'll mark you as present. All right, any other changes to the agenda? If none noted, I'll request a quick roll call vote on the approval of the agenda. We'll actually, I think we can just do this by not roll call it, just by ayes and nays. Is there a? I'll motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a second?
Motion to approve. Yeah. Second.
Second by Commissioner Anderson. Any objections? I'll do a. All in favor, say aye.
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 All in favor, all not in favor, say nay. All right, in the eyes of the chair, the agenda has been approved as noted. Thank you very much. We'll move to Commissioner Jones to review the approval of the minutes.
So the minutes were sent out to all commissioners to see if there were any changes or recommendations or things to be added. And they were uploaded to the site within a week of our February 18th meeting. Are there any questions on the agenda? Motion to approve?
Motion to approve it. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bishop Henchman. We'll do approval of the minutes by roll call vote, as long as there's no objections. We'll start with Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones is aye. Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Commissioner thank you, Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Williams says aye. Commissioner Galvan is aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson is aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
Thank you. And Commissioner Zenjan.
Aye.
Zenjan is aye. All right. The approval of the minutes by a vote of 7-0 have been approved. Thank you for drafting them, going through that effort. We will go into officer reports. I'll start for the chair. We have the only thing I will note is that OANC, the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissioners, recently updated their website. So just for other commissioners' awareness, all of our stuff was kind of automatically updated. So if you get an opportunity or chance to take a look at the OANC website, it should reflect all of our contact information and our current roles on the FIVA Commission. That's all I have. I'll move to the Vice Chair, Commissioner Anderson.
We can move on.
Okay, on to the next, Commissioner Sani for Treasurer Report.
Hopefully this is the most exciting Treasurer's report I have to give. As we've disclosed several times, our bank of choice, Industrial Bank, they recently upgraded their software and messed up a bunch of ANC accounts. Our money is still there. It's more just titled in a different way, under a different thing. And I think all of us commissioners lost signature access to the account. So our money was basically in stasis, and we didn't have access to any of the online portal ability to kind of get statements. Thanks to assistance from both Commissioner Anderson and Commissioner Galvan, we are now all back and able to access our account once more. I am on it, and we are able to sign checks for it again. I'm going to read in the 3 statements that we were unable to read in because of lack of access. Our balance on at the end of the month of December 2024 was $38,390.97. At the end of January, it was $43,093.94. That reflects disbursement for our quarterly allotment from from the city, rather. And then at the end of February 2025, once again, it was $43,093.94. Additionally, I've been working on getting our QR4 up to speed now that we have access to our statements, and that will be later on the agenda. Yes, so once we are comfortable with our bank account, we will also then initiate the process to move over to PNC Bank. We have started communication with them on what we need to do to move over, as well as OANC, just to make sure we're doing everything by the book here. So hopefully, I don't know if we'll be able to finagle it for the transition from March to April, because we need to do it at the extreme beginning of the month or extreme end of the month. But my hope is at least April to May, we will be able to do it to transfer over to a banking option that is a little less error prone. But that is my report.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Sani. Secretary, Commissioner Jones.
No updates.
Thank you very much. That'll complete the officer reports. We'll move to public comment. So for those of you listening, either online or here in person, we have a public comment period, which is roughly 10 minutes, up to 2 minutes per speaker. Talk about anything that's going on in the neighborhood that you would like commissioners to know about. Maybe it's related to items that are on the consent or anything that's on the agenda today. So I want to give that opportunity to residents to speak or to mention anything. And I do see someone's hand raised. City's iPhone. Hopefully I said your name correctly. I apologize if I did not.
Hi. Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Perfect. So I recently moved to the neighborhood, and I noticed that when contractors come to work on our houses, and this has happened twice on my street, some guys try to rob their stuff and I talked to people in the neighborhood, and a lot of people have experienced the same issue. And I wouldn't think a whole lot of it, but we have experienced contractors refusing to now come to our like our streets to work on issues. So I don't know if there's anything we can do. Like I've seen the police cars here and there, and this is happening, and this happened in broad daylight, like 10 a.m. Like these guys don't care. Um, we like obviously take precautions now. We do have luckily a garage spot. We'll, if a contractor comes, we'll have the guy parked in the garage. And but I'm sure other people don't necessarily have that option. So I think maybe, just like paroling by police, if that could be increased for, a certain amount of time. So these folks know that, well, yes, there's police presence here, and they'll just like forget about our neighborhood. I just wanted to bring that concern up and see if there's anything we can do.
Thank you very much. So we'll go through any other comments, and then we'll have the opportunity for commissioners to respond. Are there any other comments from members of the public or members who are online right now regarding anything in particular? All right. I'll see if their commissioners would like to respond to the public comment period. I'll start. I'll recognize myself. This has actually happened to me too. In my section in the neighborhood, we've had some contractors of ours get robbed as well. We just try to remind them to make sure that there is, always lock the doors, never leave anything outside. I know that's obvious. You've obviously learned that already, but we can get in touch with MPD and ask for kind of additional patrols. That is certainly an option. So I encourage you to reach out to your respective commissioner and reach out to MPD, the Public Safety and Health Committee, which will give a report later today. We're also getting some community outreach about resources for neighbors to use to get in touch with MPD and some other public safety resources. So I encourage you to stay on and listen to that when that comes through. It certainly is frustrating and affects our ability to get quality workers here as well. But yeah, definitely MPD has encouraged folks to make sure nothing is visible and always lock their doors, even if they're just going in and out of the house for a minute. So I'm sorry that's not a great response, but I encourage some engagement with other commissioner, your respective commissioner. Any other comments from commissioners? All right. With that being, no additional public comment, we'll move on to announcement from commissioners in particular. So any announcement doesn't necessarily need to be related to officer reports. I'll recognize any commissioners. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, you've been recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This just came across by email, so not everybody may have seen it, but MPD Assistant Chief Sylvan Altieri has announced his retirement. And many of us remember him fondly from when he was commander of the 5th District before his promotion. So I'm going to be pulling together a letter or a card or something expressing the appreciation of the community and best wishes on his retirement. So reach out if you're interested in joining on that. And then separately, item 10M on the agenda, the zoning case, the rear 2nd Street one. I don't know if that link works or if it's just me, but so consequently, I'd like to pull that from the consent agenda to the action agenda. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you very much. Commissioner Bishop Henchman. Are there any other commissioners want to make announcements? I'll make a quick announcement on, and this is really to the community at large. There has been a lot of, I've been inspired by a lot of the community engagement around Congress's continuing resolution that was passed. Now, I know that there was some language in there about DC's budget being basically cut halfway through the year by about $1 billion, which would have significant effects on DC municipal services across the board. And I just want to thank everyone who called, even though DC does not have representation and neighbors do not have an elected voice that has representation in Congress. Is impressive to see everyone doing outreach and everyone playing a part in calling senators and representatives. And while it's got included in the budget or the CR that was passed, I'm hearing encouraging news that it's possible the House of Representatives may take it up to kind of save that $1 billion and prevent a lot of job losses and a lot of significant cuts. So I'm cautiously optimistic with where we stand, but I just want us to thank everyone for all of their outreach that they've done to try to get people to recognize DC residents as an important part of the budget and an important part of this region. That's all I have. Yes.
Do we need to move to suspend the rules so we can make the agenda change that Commissioner Church?
Yes, that is a good point. I think we can handle that during the action agenda. Yeah. Yeah, let's kind of do that. Okay. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? All right. Seeing none, we will move to announcement from representatives of elected officials for 5 minutes each. Mr. Black, Anthony Black from the Mayor's Office of Community Relations is on the line. Thank you for joining, Mr. Black. You have 5 minutes to give an update. Please, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Good evening, ANC 5F. My name is Anthony Black. I'm the Ward 5 Community Relations Manager for the Mayor's Office. First and foremost, I would like to just congratulate the newly elected officials and the re-elected officials. It's been a while since I've been here. It's been a couple months now, so just wanted to make sure I congratulated you guys. First and foremost, to the resident that is having the issues with the robberies with the cars and the contractors, please, I will drop my information in the chat. Please feel free to reach out. There's some things I will reach out to MPD to possibly see if we can get an increase in patrol in that community. Street sweeping is currently underway. Please, I encourage residents to inform neighbors, ANC commissioners, tell the residents to get their cars off the side of the streets that need to be swept on that particular day, in between those particular hours, so they don't receive a ticket. Our ward days, my ward days, are Tuesdays and Wednesdays between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Those are days in which I'm in the community addressing issues and concerns. So I encourage ANC commissioners as well as residents to please just reach out, schedule some time with me so that we can address those issues and concerns in real time. That is it currently on my end. If there are any questions and concerns, please feel free.
All right, thank you very, sorry, go ahead. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Thank you so much, Mr. Black. Appreciate your time. Are there any questions from commissioners?
I did have a question.
Yes,
Can you-
Commissioner Jones.
Can you repeat what the ward days and times are?
I couldn't hear you, Commissioner.
Can you repeat what the Ward 5, I think you said Ward 5 days?
Oh, so
dates,
those, yes, ma'am. So those are Tuesdays and Wednesdays between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. You can schedule time with myself and also the Ward 5 liaison, Christian Stargell, who I will drop her information in the chat as well. But those are the days that you can schedule time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, are there any other,
It looks like Melissa.
Melissa? Go ahead. Ms. Coughlin.
Hi there. Thanks for recognizing me. Quick question for you, Mr. Black, on leaf collection. So that was delayed because of all the snow. Do you know, is that still happening? It's unclear to me looking around our neighborhood if it's happened on our street, and the live tracker on the DPW website says it hasn't, but it's also getting pretty late. And so I know me and some other neighbors, we don't want to rake our leaves out into the street if they're not going to get picked up. So do you have any updates on if that's completed or if that's still ongoing?
So it's supposed to be completed, but if there are any areas that haven't been picked up as of yet, please give me that location, and I will have that done as soon as possible. You can actually give it to me now if you want.
Great. Thank you very much. Ms. Coughlin, you have your hand is raised still. Are you able to speak? Okay. All right. Any other questions from members of the public for Mr. Black or the commissioners? Not.
I got it, Melissa.
Great. Thank you very much. We will move on to the next. Thank you so much, Mr. Black.
Of
Great
course.
We'll now move on to approval of the quarterly financial report. Commissioner Sani.
Yes, so as I mentioned during my update, we're a little behind on our quarterly financial report filing duties because of our inability to access our bank account. The good news is that is now behind us, and so I have compiled a quarterly financial report that I have circulated amongst the commissioners via our shared inbox. Yeah, it basically reflects that in the past, in the last quarter, we had sorry, let me just pull it up real quick. We had an ending balance of $38,390.97 as of, well, actually, at the end of December. And then, yeah, so just asking for the commission to vote to approve it.
Second.
Great. Seconded by Commissioner Bishop Henchman. I will take this to a roll call vote. Any objections? All right, we'll go to Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Galvan, I vote aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
You and Commissioner Zenjon.
Aye.
All right. I'm sorry, Commissioner Bishop Henchman, my apologies.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Sonic. Ayes of the chair, we have 7-0-0. The quarterly financial report has been approved. Thank you for all your work on that, Commissioner Sonic. All right, we will move to item number 9, which is presentations relating to agenda items. This is the Friends of Metropolitan Branch Trail to discuss the grant. We will recognize, I believe we have Gordon who's here. Is that correct, Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
Yes, Mr. Chaffin or anybody, any of his designees.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chaffin. All right, Mr. Chaffin, you have been recognized.
Thank you for hearing me out this evening. Yes, great. My name is Gordon Chaffin. I'm Executive Director of the Friends of the MBT. We have for your consideration this evening a grant application for $1,275. The purpose of the application, the benefits to the community would be the purchase and use of supplies for us to deploy drinking water and rest area stations in 2 locations in ANC 5F. So for those of you who are not familiar with us, we are a nonprofit that started a couple years ago, and we support the Metropolitan Branch Trail, which runs through ANC 5F from the Noma area through Eckington, Edgewood, and then toward ANC 5A to the north there. The total trail at the south end connects to both sides of Union Station, and on the north end is currently being constructed all the way through Manor Park and will, in a year or two, knock on wood, complete all the way to downtown Silver Spring and connect into the Montgomery County Trail network there. 2 years ago, when I started the group, I deployed a couple igloo coolers, the 5-gallon variety you see at soccer games, and a couple tables for us to just serve users of the trail. Thankfully, I've had some folks come on, volunteers as well as board members, and we've gotten some generous donations over the last 2 years so that we were able to last year install both the normal cooler as well as drinking cups for humans, dog bowls for dogs. We also installed trashes last year, and we this upcoming year are excited to work with Eckington Parks and Arts. They are going to supply us with dog poop bags, and we are going to supply the receptacles at each of the rest area stations. So I mentioned we have 2 locations in ANC 5F. One of the locations that are relevant to our grant application is one that's about at Carlos Rosario School, which is at about V Street Northeast. That is the heaviest used drinking water station among our 4. We basically can keep the water flowing as long as we can afford to put human drinking water cups there. And then the second location in ANC 5F is Bryant Street Dog Park. Now, the Tanner Park Dog Park there, they have a drinking fountain built in. They have both actually a drinking fountain and a water spigot. And the dog park here at Bryant Street didn't have that community benefit. So that gets heavy use also primarily from dog owners, though the use of the water at Carlos Rosario to fill dog bowls is also very high. We have found people are very interested in their dogs being quenched with thirst before themselves. So as far as items that we're requesting for this grant application, we worked with Commissioner Bishop Henchman as well as the Office of ANCs to narrow our request down to basically the materials that are going to be used up in the next few months. We plan to deploy our stations on the weekend of April 19th and 20th. And so our grant application covers drinking cups It covers some of the materials that go to our volunteer packets. So we've got a drawstring bag that has sticky notes and Sharpies, so that when the drinking drinking receptacle, when the igloo coolers are filled, the public knows that okay, it was filled this morning, etc. And with the next and last item, I think that's also relevant procedurally this evening, is that we were not able to get the grant application into you all in time for you to follow your normal grant review processes, and for that money to be used in our stations at the beginning of the summer. So as I mentioned, we're hoping the weekend of April 19th and 20th. That is sort of a random date, but it is the date on which the average temperature in the daytime in DC gets above 65 degrees. And in our stations go until Veterans Day weekend on the back end. And so procedurally, our secondary request this evening is that you all suspend your rules in order for this grant application to be considered, and for us to be able to use the money in acquisition of the materials so that we can deploy next month. And I'm happy to take any questions at any point, and I'll be listening in.
Thank you so much, Sheldon. We will see if there are any members of the public who have any questions, or any commissioners who have any questions. Commissioner Williams, you are recognized.
As soon as my computer quit playing with me. Can I ask that we have a meeting with Bryant Street? Can I put that request in to have that placed? Or can we table this until the next meeting? Because you mentioned the doggy park at Bryant Street Market. There's a Chase, all of. I have a meeting with them Thursday. Can we either? I would like to table it so I can give you a better answer about having them place it there.
Commissioner Williams, you're referring to tabling the whole grant, or just
Well,
the grant portion that is associated with the dog park?
the portion associated with the dog park. Can I get back to you? I'll bring that up and see what they say about them doing it instead of you.
So just a point of order, since it's already added to the agenda, we'll definitely, that can be under consideration for the action agenda for item 11D. So yeah, we can further discuss that during that time. Did you have any other comments?
No, I just wanted to say that ask that question. Can you give me some time? I can respond back to the Bryant Street Market by Friday at least.
Commissioner, do you mind if I have a comment?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Chapman.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. The one thing I wanted to clarify is that we've worked with MRP. They are not willing to invest in the dog park in terms of installing water or anything beyond replacing the trash cans when they get full. So I don't expect them to be willing to provide anything, and the employees that do the trash refilling and such, I don't believe that they would be willing to refill water, or that MRP or Kettler, the management company for the Chase, would be willing to take on any cost. We have asked.
Okay. I'm still ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, I see your hands raised. Recognized.
Thank you. On that last point, Commissioner Williams can be very persuasive. I think we all know that. So she may come back with some good news for it, and I think we'd all be happy to hear that. However, I will say that even if they say yes on Thursday, I don't think whatever they build will be built by April or by the summer. So I would like to continue with this grant application. And if next year we only have to do one station instead of two stations, that's progress. But I don't think it should deflect us from what we're doing today. For Mr. Chaffin, do you have any numbers on, any idea on how many people used the stations the last season you had them? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. So the way that we measure station use is by human drinking cups. And last year we went through 5,600 drinking cups at the Carlos Rosario station. So depending upon how you buy them, that's they generally come in sleeves of 50 to 100. And during the warm weather months where the temperature is between like 70 and 85, we could go through a sleeve a day. We couldn't raise enough money for that last year, but that's part of the reason we're here looking for some help.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chaffin. I see a member of the public, Anupama Tantri. Apologize if I got your name wrong. You recognized?
Hi. Oh, there we go. Hi. Thanks for the presentation. I think I just had a question in terms of from a waste management perspective, just one, what kind of cups are they? And hopefully maybe not plastic or just thinking about from an environmental perspective, as well as just from a waste management perspective, so that we don't end up having just kind of litter across, what is a really fantastic bike path. If you could just maybe respond to those questions. Thank you.
For sure. That's another great question. So the grant application we've submitted includes the provision of I think the term is non-laminated paper cups. So at the Carlos Rosario station and then at Bryant Street Dog Park, there is trash, but in the case that they're discarded, the grant we're seeking allows us to spend a little bit more money and get the most environmentally friendly cups. I will say on a personal note, when I started this whole thing, I prioritized getting trash cans wherever I was putting cups for specifically this reason.
Great, yes, Commissioner Sani.
Oh, and I think the other part of Ms. Tantree's question may have been lost, which was, what about the dog waste bags that you're getting at?
Sure. So we, the Eckington Parks and Arts, they have I don't know what the technical term is, but basically the wholesale variety of dog poop bags. They're going to supply us with a whole boatload of them for free. And the only thing that we have to provide is the receptacles. So it's not in this grant application, but we have funding right now in our bank account to buy those like 2-bag dispensers that have the little key lock thing, and those will be at every single station. So the idea is that there's a gap between the Chase, the Bryant Street, and between Tanner Park. And so in that gap in Eckington, where Fort Myer is and stuff, we would be adding a set of poop bags and a trash where people could drop the poop. And our hope is that, especially up by Catholic, where there's our North 2 stations, that doing this reduces the amount of dog waste that just sits exposed, as well as people walking their dogs who have to carry it for a mile and a half before they find a trash can.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Mr. Chaffin. Are there any other questions or concerns members of the public, other commissioners? Not see any. Well, thank you so much for your time and presentation, and I'm sure we'll be discussing this in the action agenda shortly. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. So for those of you who may not be familiar with the consent agenda, there are items that any of the commissioners can remove off of the consent agenda and put into the action agenda for further discussion. Most of the time, the consent agenda includes resolutions or actions that are not controversial or basically that can pass by single vote through all of them. So wanted to ask if there were any commissioner, and I want to recognize Commissioner Bishop Henchman because he had already kind of requested to take off the resolution conditionally supporting Lona Alia's BZA case. Apologies for that link not working. I found the link and sent it and reposted it in the agenda. So that has been pulled off. I did pull off, hopefully that link works for you. I also pulled in an email that I sent last night, the resolution requesting the budget support for the $10 million increase to Harry Thomas Recreation Center. It's some additional language that I added to that based on some additional conversations I had with DPR and some others. Are there any other items requested by commissioners to pull off the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, do we have the action to second? Sorry, yeah. Make the action I'll make the action that we will approve all that's on the consent agenda. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Zenjon.
Mr. Chair, because these are substantive, they need to be. It needs to be a roll call vote.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, this will go to a roll call vote. Thank you, Commissioner Bishop Henchman, keeping me in line. We'll go to roll call vote. We'll start with Commissioner Jones.
Yeah.
Aye. Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Okay. I'm having problems getting this auto on. Aye. Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Galvan, I vote aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
Thank you. And Commissioner Zenjon.
Aye.
All, so we have 7-0-0 in favor. So all the resolutions under the consent agenda, items I through K, have been passed. Thank you for everyone's work on each of those. We'll move on to the action agenda. The first item on the action agenda is the resolution to approve minor updates requested by ABCA to the settlement agreement that was negotiated between the family tree and myself. I just want to give a brief update on this. So we had gone through, recognize myself here, take myself out of the chair position. I've been working with the family tree on a negotiated settlement agreement. We reached a settlement agreement after lots of input from residents, and we were able to get it all signed off. Thanks for everyone's support in actually approving that settlement agreement at our last meeting. Then the board came to us. I'm sorry, not the board. ABCA Legal took another legal review, even though I'd already sent them previously, and they had some additional comments. And so that resolution basically is including, there was the removal of a trash can, which they said in a settlement agreement as part of public property, and so that was not to be included in that. And then there was one other minor item to that, which was, I apologize, I'll bring that up in a moment. So the board then proceeded to approve that settlement agreement with those minor changes. The next day, the owner who I had been negotiating with, who signed it off, was arrested by MPD as a co-owner to Trending Leaps, which was an unlicensed cannabis at Lincoln Road and Rhode Island Avenue on the corner. That has been, he was arrested on charges of distributing and the intent to distribute some narcotics as well as edibles, without a license. And so we're kind of cocaine. They were distributing cocaine at a location on a premises in a building. So that I've reached out to ABCA to say, look, everyone in this country is, innocent until proven guilty, but there was clearly some evidence, and I don't know what was happening behind the scenes, but ABCA has indicated that they will not comment on this particular case at this time, and that is both related to the investigation, which is obviously ongoing. That makes sense, but also there's no change to the settlement agreement based on this new information. The only thing that I was advised by ABCA was that I could write a letter to them to say that I'm displeased with the fact that someone was dealing in a different capacity, and that we were negotiating good faith with them, and they clearly were not following the laws as a good faith citizen. So anyway, I know that's a lot to say right now. I'm frankly a little conflicted about putting up a resolution to approve the minor updates because I'm not kind of sure how this will shake out. But as a party to this negotiated agreement, I feel like it's my duty to bring up this resolution because there were modifications made on behalf of ABCA, and that those minor changes, while not particularly substantive, still require the ANC 5F Commission approval. So with that being said, I'll end any questions. Yeah, Commissioner Sani.
So regarding the state of the settlement agreement, ABCA voted to approve an amended version that they marked up themselves.
Yes, that the ABCA legal had marked up. They had communicated with me, and I said, do we need a vote? Do I need a vote to do this before it goes before the board? And they said, no, you're representing the ANC already. However, I still think in order to make that document legal, we should still close the loop to make sure that effort is that language is consistently maintained. And I have in writing from Roger, a few days prior to that vote, that he agreed to those changes as well. Are there any other questions from commissioners? Give me one moment here. Yeah, sorry, Commissioner Bishop-Benjamin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I share your misgivings. I think there's, I don't know, karma. It's the universe laughing at us that ABCA approves the settlement agreement in the morning, and then that evening, the applicant is arrested at another establishment. As we've discussed many times, ABCA ultimately grants licenses and takes licenses away. Obviously, they listen to us on what we send to them. So, I hope you do send that letter and they listen to it. But well, as you said, this is something we shook hands on, and it's us and the applicant, and I'm going to be voting yes because that's us upholding our part of it, even if he's not upholding his. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bishop Henchman. And I'll just make the note of what those minor changes are. So one is section 6BI, and basically it's illegal to use a trash can on public space. The settlement agreement stated that the applicant would provide a trash can that is very substantially similar to what trash cans exist in public space already, but they would be responsible for maintaining that. Unfortunately, this property is like right on the edge, right next to the sidewalk. There is no private property in front of it before it reaches the sidewalk. So the APCA requested that to be removed as part of that because it's not allowed in the public space. The second section, there was a section 7, the last sentence was basically modified to read, licensee shall post signage inside the establishment that advises the public against illegal parking. And apparently that could not have been put on the exterior because I had licensee shall actively monitor the sidewalk and alleyway next to the establishment to ensure illegal parking does not occur, and also shall post signage inside the establishment. So they basically said just to include it inside the establishment. So those are the two minor changes. All right, any other comments or questions from commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Williams. You recognize.
Okay, I'm a little confused. Are we about to vote on rescinding the agreement until after the findings? Or
No.
what? This letter is
So,
pertaining.
yeah, sorry. So this this vote is to approve the settlement agreement as we negotiated with, even though we already voted on this a month ago, there's two minor changes that the ABCA legal requested us to make. So we are making those two small tweaks to that settlement agreement, and I'm requesting that the commission vote to approve that that settlement agreement. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay.
It's basically making it official that ANC 5F has approved the same settlement agreement that the APCA board approved.
I got it. Okay. Okay.
And I see Commissioner Zenjon.
No issues with the changes. Have some concerns about this, but again, you've done a lot of work to get this. I hope it works out well. We'll be voting in support, but just want to voice I have a lot of concerns about this.
Understood. If I had my act together a little bit more, I'd probably have written a letter before this and had the ANC 5F approve it, but that will be forthcoming probably at the next commission meeting. All right. That being said, Vice Chair Anderson, would you mind proceeding over the vote here on this resolution?
Yes, absolutely. I actually have a quick question of clarification. So
yeah.
Just for clarity, because the applicant has not been, because the case is still pending, but if the applicant is found guilty of the charges, the license does not go through, correct? Or is that up to APCA, or is that out of our scope?
No, I literally asked that exact question to APCA, and they said we do not comment on ongoing investigations.
Yeah.
So even though you're right, the nuance here is if he's convicted, are we on drug charges? Is he going to open a licensed medical marijuana? Is that going to be allowed?
I looked into it. That is not.
It is not allowed.
It is not part of. No.
Oh,
it's not part of their statute. It's not. They can't allow it. So
Gotcha.
it is not part of existing law, but they have to deny it.
Got it.
Okay, got it. So I guess this is more of a comment rather than, this is more of a comment before we go into vote. Maybe in our settlement agreement, we should look into with ABCA. Like, I'm just raising this because I also want to be very careful about how this is addressed, because certainly part of the like legal cannabis licensing is an avenue to, there's definitely kind of a social equity component to this, but maybe there is something to look into regarding kind of like the cocaine allegations in particular. I think were very concerning, in addition to kind of being an unlicensed operator, but maybe there should be something that we look into addressing in our settlement agreement, kind of default settlement agreement, just kind of voicing that out there with this as like a particular case study, not to let a specific case like dictate our settlement agreement processes, but this may be like a condition that we haven't thought about before. So just kind of putting that out there for us to kind of like carefully consider. But with that said, I'm happy to go into a roll call vote. Wait, have we already motioned to go into vote? Okay.
No, but I'll make the motion to vote on this.
Second.
Seconded. Great. Excellent. Any objections? With none noted, we are now going into a vote. So Commissioner Jones, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. Commissioner Sani, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Galvin? Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
Aye.
Commissioner Zinjan?
Aye.
Okay, with a vote of 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstaining, this motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Relinquish my chair duties to Chair
Galvin. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. We'll move on to the resolution requesting budget support for a $10 million increase to Harry Thomas Recreation Center. I'll give there's a lot on this, so I'm going to try to do this as briefly as possible. So Harry Thomas Recreation Center currently has, I think it's $19 million in their budget that was first provided in 2019 in the budget, and then it was ultimately added in FY24 to begin the process of design. So where it currently is in pre-design stage or procurement. So DPR and Department of General Services work together. DPR does kind of the community engagement, DGS does the project management, and DGS and DPR kind of work together on those. So DGS is currently working to get what they call a design build contractor, which is a company or a contract organization that does both the design and construction part of the project. And so once that person is on that company is on board, they will start their community engagement process with neighbors, with community organizations like ourselves. And so this particular resolution is requesting DPR and DGS to really do some robust engagement. You know, the last time this was upgraded, I think, is in 1999. There were some minor updates in 2013 related to accessibility improvements. I don't know if you've ever been to Harry Thomas Recreation lately. It's in pretty rough condition. So I had to do some more research about kind of escalation costs that are related to budget. But in my experience, outside of being a commissioner in the construction field, we've seen massive increases in escalation costs. I think, in addition, tariffs that are likely coming will affect the construction industry significantly, both from countries outside of the United States. And so doing some back of hand calculations, you know, a similar project like this, Fort Lincoln Recreation Center, which is a much bigger project. It includes an early childhood education center as well. But they added almost $10 million in 22-23 to that budget for that project. And I think $19 million is not enough. Would barely do anything to improve kind of the current state of affairs, in my humble opinion. And so what I would like, and what this resolution is requesting, is for DPR and DGS to do robust engagement with community, both in Eckington, Edgewood, and even across in Bloomingdale, because while that's Rhode Island, or while North Capitol Street is a divider, unfortunately, it really, this community center can serve a lot of folks, and I want to make sure that they're including all of those right people and are scoping it so that it meets community needs, and it's including a diverse group of people that can really participate: seniors, the youth, commissioners, community leaders, all of that. So anyway, that's all the language that's there. I sent an email last night with some updates. It's also posted to the agenda. So any questions? I see Commissioner Zenjon as well. Thank you for co-sponsoring this.
Yes, no, and I appreciate all of the work you've done on this, Commissioner Galvin. I just want to sort of reiterate some of the things you said. So they're looking at replacing the roof, replacing the HVAC system. So the initial amount budgeted is just not anywhere close to what they need to really do a renovation on this. Especially, I know we're facing some uncertain times in terms of our budget, but I think it's worth asking, especially with, as you mentioned, tariffs and inflation and things like that. This 19 million is just not going to cut it to even get the basics done. I think we would all love to see a community center, in our neighborhood that really can bring people together. And for that to happen, we really need to at least cover the basics. Commissioner Galvin and I have been working with, DPS or DPW, sorry, it's just starting the acronym, DGS, DPW, and trying to figure out where they are with the community survey and things like that. But also just talking to neighbors, and we really think this could play into a lot of what we're trying to do with community engagement in our neighborhood. So just putting in a plug for this.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zenjon. I guess I should have had you also oversee this, Commissioner Anderson. I think it is.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you do it.
Okay, all right, I'll keep rolling. Are there any other questions from commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Sonny.
Obviously, as we've seen, as we've put in numerous budget requests, it's like sometimes it's like screaming into the void. Do we have any indication from either the council member's office or the mayor's office that this is something that they kind of understand the value of, and that they see like the community need here? Or
Yes, so I have been in touch with Councilmember Parker's office about this, and try to align that our asks is something that the council member would hopefully be open to as well. I've not spoken to the council member directly, just to his staff, but it sounds like, oh, you have, sorry.
I have. I ran
Go ahead,
into him at the event last week, I believe, and specifically brought this up, and he was supportive. Again, in theory, he wasn't going to advocate on behalf of one budget request or another, but I raised this and how important it was to my little district, but I think to the broader side.
Thank you, Commissioner Zenjon. And I'll make one other note on that, is that the resolution does talk about, $10 million is a lot of money, and especially in a budget year where we're losing tax revenue, where federal jobs are being cut substantially. So it's possible that a request of lesser value might still give us something, but also that maybe $10 million can be parsed over multiple years. But I would want the community to be engaged as part of that. And I'm not saying that would not be a decision that I would make, but that folks understand that if we really want all the things that are there, it may take more time to get those things. So the resolution and the new language kind of outlines some recommendations for that. Are there any other questions from commissioners? All right, seeing none, I would like to ask Commissioner Anderson to do the roll call vote.
All right, excellent. Well, I feel like we should move to go to a vote. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I will motion to.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Bishop Henchman. Are there any objections? With none noted, we're going to a vote. Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Sani?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
I lost track. What are we voting on again?
We are voting on Harry Thomas, the resolution concerning Harry Thomas.
Aye.
All right. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
Aye.
Commissioner Zanjan?
Aye.
So with a vote of 7-0, this motion passes.
Thank you very much, everyone. And the last item, no, not the last item. No, appreciate everyone getting through this with me. Resolution conditionally supporting Lona Aaliyah's BZA case. Apologies, this link did not work earlier. Hopefully it does work now. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, does it work for you now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll briefly chat about this one. So this is in relation to Lona Aaliyah has come to this commission, I don't know, 4 or 5 times now, maybe. This is about the lot on 2nd Street in the rear alley lot there. It is a underutilized space that is frankly kind of a trash dump right now, and cars are dumped there, all sorts of things. And so Miss Aaliyah has been going through the ringer with the BZA and trying to understand all of the processes in place. Originally, that BZA case was supposed to happen on March 12th last week. It did not happen because she did not get the BZA in writing in time. So this gives us the opportunity to potentially support it. And I'm advocating for support for this with a caveat. Caveat is that this little forest patch right there behind those homes is it has value in the community, and so I feel that adding just this property with 2 row houses will kind of increase the space and the value there, but it can be limited if because the major cost here is going to be associated with digging up the alleyway, which was recently redone, and installing water and sewer lines. And so when they go to do that, usually people upsize it for additional capacity so it doesn't have to be dug out in the future. So my thought is that they don't significantly upsize that because it will discourage the development of a forest patch, and the only one in Eckington. And so that's kind of the caveat that's here. I understand it's very nuanced, but it's an important area, and I'll be the first to be full disclosure that I do live nearby this area and can see this space so very often. So Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Thank you. I just had a question on the resolve clause. In the resolve clause, it says limiting ... to supporting more than 2 single-family homes. Is it supposed to say no more, or is limiting the wrong word? I feel like I'm
yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it should be limiting to no more than 2 single-family homes.
Thank you. That's all.
Yes, Commissioner.
I think there is a value in there being a forest patch. I think the only question I had was, I know you mentioned it's also kind of like an area where there's garbage collecting. Is the garbage collecting in the same spot that there's a forest area? And do we see value in keeping that if it's collecting garbage? I guess I'm just I had meant to go by the area within this last month and hadn't had the chance, but curious.
Yeah, I can explain that a little bit better. So, the area that the forest patch is off of 2nd Street, rear 2nd Street, which is the alleyway. It is a very steep slope that goes up into the forest patch area, and then this is on the very southern corner. It does a little S turn that's there, and so that little S turn space is where a lot of the dumping is, and it's fairly eroded. There's a lot of erosion that's there. A couple like empty lots that are nearby on the southern side. North of this property is the forest patch, and I can pull up if you actually. I wonder if I can.
I think just another thing to add, and I think there's been a lot of recognition of this throughout like ANC and other groups forming throughout other ANCs more broadly. The approval or the recognition of alley houses. And I think just creating like more houses and more places for people to live is a good thing. And I don't want to, it doesn't seem like this is necessarily blocking the creation of houses, but I think, I know it sounds like they've gone through a lot to get to this point to build those houses. And I don't want to dissuade other people from being able to build and create more places for people to live that are potentially affordable. So I think, so I don't necessarily want to remove the forest patches, but I think it's just something to consider.
Yeah, and Commissioner Williams, I'll come to you in just a second. So I've shared the screen. Hopefully everyone can see that. You see where there's this little S turn in the alleyway. That is where the property is. Just north of that, you can see actually people's fence lines, people's property, and then there's kind of the forest patch area. So yes, I should also mention.
Who owns that? What you were just pointing to? Kind of like wooded.
The little S area that's there.
Yeah.
So that Lona Elia, she's the one who owns.
But the little forest area.
So it is people's backyards.
So private individuals own that.
I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. But yeah. So the nuance is, you know, if we build a big, big capacity, then that opportunity cost is much increased is decreased for them to just be able to build in that back area. And I am a big proponent of, additional housing, which is why I think this is important. I think it serves a lot of different purposes. And the space that it is right in that corner is very, there isn't a lot of value in the trees. It's mostly eroded dirt and space there. So that's why, it's a little different. Sorry, Commissioner Williams, I meant to recognize you earlier.
Okay, first thing, I heard bits and pieces of what Commissioner Jones was saying, and I was trying to figure
Would you
out
like to repeat it?
basically everything after what she said. What her comments were about, she didn't have a chance because I couldn't hear. I could not hear.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'd mentioned I meant to go by the area where this is located, but didn't have the chance to look at it. And the reason, or my comment was mainly that I wasn't sure whether the moving forward with this agreement would dissuade people from building additional housing in the area. But I think another piece of this is just recognizing that people are building additional housing and supporting that. I just wanted to make sure the whatever restrictions that we're putting on them aren't cumbersome to them building this housing that they want. And I know they've been working on this for a long time.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying anything after you didn't have a chance to visit, it was in and out. I didn't hear what you were saying. That's all
Sorry
I
about
had to. No problem. No problem.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Any other comments? Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, I'll just add that Miss Aaliyah, this lot and it falls into my SMD, and Miss Aaliyah has been kind of working with us for almost half a year now, I would say. I think we were first in contact late summer, early fall of last year. So I know that her plan has gone through different iterations, but I think she's been really responsive to the inquiries that we've had. I know that she's had some difficulties because of the particularities of this specific lot. So I just wanted to kind of say that, like, as far as I know, and as far as what's been reflected on the record, the neighbor comments that have come in have been in support of the lot, as far as I know. Yeah, I agree with the comments about how I'm glad that there's an upcoming conversation with commissioners regarding alley lots. ANC 5F05 apparently has one of the highest number of alley lots, and I know that's been kind of an issue for this commission. So anyway, that's all to say that the neighbor commission comments that have come in thus far have mostly been positive, mostly in support of this project.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Anderson. No other comments. Commissioner Anderson, would you again be willing to preside?
Yeah.
Get your work cut out for you tonight.
No, absolutely. I move to put this to a vote. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Conley.
Great. If none noted, we are now in vote. Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Sani?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson is myself, and I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
Aye.
Commissioner Zanjan?
Aye.
I tried. Okay, great. So with a vote of 7 to 0 to 0, this motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. All right, we are moving now to approval of the Friends of Metropolitan Branch Trail grant request. Before I hand over the reins to Commissioner Bishop Henchman, I understand that because of the current rules that we have that only allow approval of grants, I believe it's twice a year. We are, I believe there is a request to suspend the rules under consideration for this particular grant. So I'll start there and hand it over to you, to Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. For the suspension, we did that right at the top in 2A. So I think this is just whether we like this or we don't like this. And
okay.
Thank you to everybody that agreed to suspend the rules. I think there was, we just adopted the calendar. This is our first grant under the calendar. So I think people are still getting used to it. As Commissioner Sani noted earlier, we have $43,000 in change burning a hole in our bank account. And this is an opportunity to get a very tiny portion of it out into the community, benefiting, was Mr. Chaffin said earlier, literally thousands of people that traverse and live near and work near the Metropolitan Branch Trail. I've been in contact, there's been a lot of work on this grant over the last 2 weeks. Appreciate everybody who reached out with suggestions or comments. I think we've, before today, and I think we've accommodated all of those. People may remember this grant started out much larger, and as a result of feedback, both from commissioners and from the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions, has been slimmed down to $1,275. This is the amount that ONC determined to be permitted under the law from the items that they had originally submitted. And I hope you'll all support it. I'd love to get everything deployed, as Mr. Chaffin said, as early as next month, and helping people get hydrated and closing a bit of the litter gap that we have between Bryant Street and our street along the trail. So I'll leave it there for questions or other items, but we adopt the grant as submitted.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? No. Seconded by Commissioner Zenjon. Are there any objections? Sorry, yeah, are there anyone who have any comments or questions for us? Sorry. I'm gonna hold that thought. Okay, seeing none from commissioners or from members of the public, we will go in. Commissioner Zenjon has indicated that she will second the motion to adopt this grant application. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote here. We'll start with Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Galvan votes aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
And Commissioner Zenjon.
Aye.
And the ayes of the chair, we have 7 to 0. Then the grant has passed and is approved. Thank you so much, Commissioner Bishop Henchman, Commissioner Shiffman, for your efforts on this.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Williams.
I'm still gonna go with seeing what additional help
Absolutely.
that may be needed.
Thank you. Yeah, any additional help? Great.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams, and yeah, absolutely, and let me know how I can be helpful on that. But yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We will move on to other reports and presentations, and we'll start with Mr. Bonner from Ward 5, Councilman Parker's office. You have 10 minutes on the clock, Mr. Bonner. You recognized?
Okay, great. Hey, everyone. I appreciate y'all letting me share and for moving things around. Usually, the last couple of times I've shared at y'all first and then had to hop to another one. So I wanted to make sure to switch that up so I could see and kind of be with a full meeting with y'all. The big news from the council member's office, and I'm sure you've heard, it's been all over the news, is the big chaos from the federal government's. I won't get too deep in it. I always encourage folks to go to ward5.us/news to read along with the most recent newsletter and sign up by clicking subscribe at the top there. But the council members on the Hill all last week and so many other neighbors, community organizations and community organizers showed up, kids, parents. We did get a partial fix from the Senate separately from the continuing resolution. It would have been devastating cuts, and it's still, we're not yet in the clear. So we know we have to keep advocating to the House and the president. I know that that's the top priority, but that work will continue ahead. If you want to hear some things about, some clips from the council member being on the Hill, we do have a podcast, the Ward 5 Wave. I encourage y'all to check it out, ward5.us/podcast. We have a new staff member I don't believe she's going to be covering 5F, but it's not been finalized. But her name is Andriana Lovelace. She's a constituent services coordinator. By the end of the month, I think I will be fully transitioned off of the old role, although I'll still be around, still be happy to advocate, still be doing policy work. I will make sure your message gets to the right place if you reach out to me. The other big sort of, I guess, news, there is the Department of Employment Services has a resources for federal workers webpage. Encourage folks to check that out if they have been affected by the recent layoffs. Residential street sweeping has started and fines began this week. The Ward 5 Senior Advisory Committee is meeting this Thursday at noon. Model Cities Senior Wellness. You can reach out to Oliver Stout or me, and I'll put my contact info in the chat if you don't have it. If you want to learn more or to RSVP. That's going to be focusing on the effect that the budget has on seniors and what seniors would like him to advocate for or prioritize in the budget related to seniors. DHCD, the Department of Housing and Community Development, has a needs assessment and public hearings coming up. There's also some public hearings coming up about the comprehensive plan, which is a big pretty much once a generation opportunity to redesign land use, zoning, the map of what's allowed to be built where. It's kind of the planning stage, it's not the budget, it's not actually creating things to happen, but it's creating the conditions for things to happen. So there's a lot of community engagement happening around those kind of both the DHCD stuff and around comp plan stuff. So again, go to the ward5.us/news if you want to see that, or if anyone wants to ask for the specific ones, I can share those. There is the DDOT is put out a notice of intent around the changes to implement the WMATA's Butter Bus Network redesign in 5F to add some bus stops. So there is a comment period open until April 1st. It is DDOT side of it, so I think WMATA's already made up their mind. So I don't quite know. My last meeting, Commissioner Lewis was like, didn't they already make up their mind? So I was like, well, that might be fair, but I know DDOT still has their statutory obligation to put up an NOI. You can vote for the movies at Cinematic in Eckington. That is a NOMA bid thing. I think that's all I have related to 5F. Although, I can't answer any question, or I'll continue to answer any questions about, anyone people have. Oh, one more thing is the first draft of the budget oversight hearings was posted to the council website. I will find that link and drop 10. You can't yet sign up to like in the hearings management system, but they have that first draft, so you can put it on your calendar as a save the date, we'll let it know when those hearings start getting populated. That's up to the committee. So each committee it's supposed to be a clunky process anyway. I'm going to find the link to the budget hearing schedule and answer any questions from commissioners or the community.
Great, thank you so much, Bonner. We have two hands raised. I see Commissioner Zenjon, and then we'll recognize you, Commissioner Bishop.
Hi, Sam. I know this is beating a dead horse, and we're all sick of talking about this, but there's no resolution yet. So Senator Collins' bill is dead on arrival. All funding bills have to originate from the House. So I'm curious, with the House being out of session right now, what do we do in the meantime? And or I guess three questions. What do we do in the meantime? What are the next steps in terms of advocacy? What can we sort of mobilize our community to do? And how are we planning for, going ahead and going through with the 1.1 billion in cuts, and what do we as a community need to kind of be on the lookout for and be prepared for?
Yeah. First off, Commissioner Galvin, I messaged you the links. I'm realizing I can't post to the full chat, but just wanted you to know that. Commissioner Zenjan, am I pronouncing that correctly, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Great question. I have some thoughts and instincts, but these are not pre-vetted with the council member. And I haven't really been in. What's that?
I said I know you all, and I'm bugging all of you daily on this, and I'm so sorry.
No, honestly, I appreciate the question. I haven't gotten it too much. I know maybe the council member has, but yeah, I mean, I think that those conversations are still ongoing. I know that all the council members, the mayor had like a press conference to talk about it, and kind of they're really trying to show unity and trying to move as one. And to be frank, again, this is my own just kind of off the cuff thoughts here. Is like, I think the council and the mayor aren't used to working like this, with like trying to kind of come up with a full like how do we all move as one in this way. So I think those conversations are ongoing. I know that conversations that hadn't been having before and connections between offices that weren't being had before are happening more actively now. I'm in not really a position to kind of lead or shape that too much, but I'm certainly interested in that, and certainly interested in ideas. I would say, obviously it goes to the House. I thought it was more complicated than that because the Senate actually passed it, and so I thought it can skip some of the committee process.
I just got news it's not, unfortunately.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've seen reports, who knows that like people are supportive. But it's a strange political moment. It seems like really be about pressuring Mike Johnson, who would need to kind of, especially if we want to do it earlier, to do some sort of either like a unanimous consent vote. I know like that can happen. So my sense is that the mayor is being a little tight-lipped about her strategy on this. I don't necessarily have a lot more details on that, but I would say like if we wanted to get involved, if the community want to get involved, whenever you're advocating to people with different value systems, speaking from their perspective, I think is really important.
I think what that was really, really helpful was when Councilmember Parker came out and gave specific guidance on, right, we sent that out to the PTO, to the different community channels that we each have that we're able to kind of activate. So I think as soon as possible, if we can get sort of some targets and some language, we have an army of people, right, that are ready and willing and eager to get involved, stay involved, have already been really, really active in this. And we don't know what to do at this point. And I'm speaking now as a parent, not just an ANC member. But everybody's rearing to go. And I think when Councilmember Parker kind of gave that guidance, we took that, ran with it. And I think all of us want to be able to push that out if we can.
Yeah, no, that's helpful feedback. I'm fairly sure we're going to be saying something else in terms of a call to action at some point this week. I haven't talked about it with my team, so I can definitely flag that for them and especially for the request for guidance and a call to action.
Thank you, Sam. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Thank you, Sam. Echoing everything Commissioner Zenjan just said of thanking the council member for his leadership. He was on the, I feel like he was in the Senate every single day, which is probably more true than some senators. So I'm glad he was representing us there and helped get it through the Senate and as everybody knows now onto the House. I also wanted to thank the council member through you and you, because you helped on this too. A big priority of Commissioner Anderson and I was to retain the bus stops at 4th and Todd that serve the Shalom House shelter. And we got confirmation from WMATA that they are retaining those bus stops. So a big victory for everybody thank you to everybody who voted on the resolutions and who helped advocate for that. And then thank you, of course, to council member who worked behind the scenes on that as well. I don't know if I have anything. Yeah, I feel like I had one more thing. Oh, yes. You may be getting a letter. The council member may be getting a letter on this. Apparently, maybe we're wrong about this, but apparently, if you apply for an alcohol license and you have alcohol-related convictions in your record, your license will be denied. But if you apply for a cannabis license and you have drug-related convictions in your record, and I'm not talking about possession, I'm talking about higher level stuff, that there's no law on that. So heads up on that. What do you think about that?
I might have missed this, but I thought people were saying that was because, and maybe I'm confusing parts. I thought people were saying that was because of the equity goals of how licenses were being put out, and that people who were had charges under the war on drugs, we want to make business opportunities for them. But maybe I'm confusing or not clear on that. And again, that's just my perspective of hearing what people are talking about, unless I'm misunderstanding something.
Sure, Galvin, can I jump in?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Commissioner Anderson, go ahead.
Yeah, Sam. I was the one who kind of made that point because I assume that's why it doesn't exist, because the program is because of that social equity aspect. But I think there's also kind of the question of if it's not trading in cannabis, but other drugs that are currently illegal, such as cocaine, whether we need to kind of revisit that. I know that some of this is all kind of interrelated, but I think the particular license that we were considering, the part of the case that's currently pending also includes cocaine being discovered, not just cannabis being sold without a current license. So anyway, I think that was me who had mentioned.
Thanks, Commissioner Anderson. Yes.
Yeah, that's helpful to kind of think about hey, there's a loophole if it's not related to marijuana and other drugs we've decriminalized, then we should maybe reconsider that. So I'll flag it to the council.
Thank you, Sam. I want to recognize Commissioner Sani.
Hey, Sam. Just wanted to say thank you for assisting with a resident who had some challenging encounters with private security in the area. Really means a lot that you and the council member's office are willing to step in and help mediate and hopefully work to a good outcome. But just wanted to thank you for helping.
Absolutely. Happy to help.
Great. Commissioner Anderson, did you have anything else? I see your hand raised.
No, that was me. I'll lower my hand.
Great. Any questions from the public? Yes, Gordon. Go ahead, Mr.
Hey, Sam, thank you for all of your work in the council member and the whole council and everybody. With you're saying with the budget oversight hearing schedule first announced, is the mayor gonna release the budget proposal at roughly the same time as before all the craziness?
Never say never, but my sense is she's already submitted it to, because it's kind of two different conversations, because it's what are we going to do now if we have to revert our current budget, and versus what is the vote and the proposal for next year, for the next fiscal year's budget. So she already had to give it to the CFO, we think, because he's supposed to get 2 weeks with it. And it's still planning to be dropped on the 2nd, or maybe the 1st. And then, the 2nd is the hearing and the breakfast, and then the 4th is the hearing where the mayor presents her budget. And then that is when the next week is when all of the budget hearings start. That whole process is still moving forward as far as we can tell. there might need to be a scramble. Yeah, if we do end up getting screwed, to be frank, like that, then yeah, I'm obviously all bets are off.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public? If not, I'll make a quick note myself. I don't see any. Yeah, again, thank you, Sam, for all your assistance, and at the budget hearing, not budget hearing, budget meetings that Councilmember Parker did as well, helping assist with that. There was an email that Councilmember Parker he was going to follow up with some agencies with regard to Emory House and the issues and the resolution we were having. I hadn't heard back from him on that. It's been maybe a month and a half now. I wonder if you could just follow up and ask if he's heard from, I think it was Department of Health and some of the other agencies regarding that.
So just the follow up from the walkthrough that Anthony.
Yeah, the walkthrough and the resolution that we sent, which is basically, can they provide us with a plan for how to address the area and then begin to implement that plan.
Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Seeing none, we will move on. Thanks again, Mr. Bonner, and you have a great evening.
Thank you all. Have a good one.
All right, we'll move to committee and task force updates. 5 minutes apiece. We will start with the Alcohol and Cannabis Licensing Committee. Ms. Coughlin. You are recognized.
Hello, thank you so much. So the Alcohol and Cannabis Licensing Committee, we did not have any business for our first Wednesday of March meeting, so it was canceled. That was scheduled to be on the 5th of March. Most of our renewals are on a 3-year cycle, so it's been a little quiet. But of course, on the 7th of March, we had a new renewal come up for Chadal, which is the Korean barbecue restaurant in the Bryant Street and Alamo complex. This is in Commissioner Williams' single member district. It's part of the Bryant Street area. We haven't traditionally done settlement agreements or haven't had any issues with these establishments yet. The protest date for this is the 21st of April. We don't anticipate any significant community feedback, given that this location has been open for less than 6 months. But we'll post it in the usual places that we do to solicit feedback, as we do with everything else that we bring up. And we'll bring it up at our April meeting on April 2nd. Hopefully we can poll the committee and see if we can resolve this via email. Speaking of which, we are continuously asking for community feedback. There's a link in the chat, which hopefully somebody will make public. So we're looking for any community feedback on any alcohol or any cannabis establishment in ANC 5F. So this is, any positive or negative feedback. So when alcohol or cannabis licenses come up for renewal, we have the pulse of the community at our fingertips instead of having to really dig through and get everything. Additionally, from a committee perspective, we typically meet on the first Wednesday of the month. If you are a commissioner, please let this disseminate this to your constituents, especially if you are a newer commissioner. We need to update our email listserv, I think, to include new commissioners. But when we do have business, we circulate the minutes to every commissioner, and we really rely on you guys as commissioners to circulate the minutes and the contents of those meetings to your constituents, especially those people who might be elderly or otherwise not online, so to speak. We're also looking for people to join our committee. It's kind of a low lift with regards to level of time commitment. Like I said, it's probably like an every 3-year cycle, but we really value the variety of perspectives and want to make sure that every aspect of the community within ANC 5F is represented. Moving on to alcohol protests, Edgewood International Wine and Spirits. We had come to a consensus between the applicant, the ANC, and the protestants, and we made a lot of progress. But then in the third mediation meeting, the applicant at the very last minute asked for an additional day of being open until midnight. They brought this up because they said they couldn't afford an outdoor camera unless they were open one additional day a week, to which the ANC and the protestants did not consent, seeing as they had already compromised on closing 4 days a week a little bit later than what we wanted. and the late hours of operation are an issue for this. So this had previously been agreed to by the applicant, and then it kind of went sideways at the last minute, like I said. This is currently scheduled for a protest hearing on April 2nd at 1:30 p.m. And then moving on to cannabis, the committee will update the cannabis settlement agreement to reflect the changes asked for by ABCA so that we don't have to do this again. I won't beleaguer the family tree or the trending leaves comments that were already brought up, but I did want to just kind of call out like the quantity of what was seized. So on March 3rd, ABCA and MPD confiscated 18 pounds of marijuana, 10 pounds of mushrooms, 150 grams of mushroom edibles, 340 grams of THC resin, 120 grams of THC wax, and 42 grams of cocaine. They did arrest 2 individuals, and we've already talked about that. So ABCA is also cracking down on illegal cannabis places. So to date, they've issued 43 cease and desist orders, 114 written warnings, and they've padlocked 37 illegal cannabis operators. Other ABCA things, there is a whole on-premises and on-site extended hours program Amendment Act of 2025. On March 4th, the DC Council passed at their first reading an Extended Hours Program Amendment Act, allowing ABCA more authority to extend the hours of operation, sales, and service and consumption for tourism, sporting, and cultural events. This doesn't apply to anything currently in ANC 5F, although that former Save-A-Lot, like Lego area right now could potentially come into scope, but we'll keep an eye on that. We're not concerned. It's been open a while. They don't seem to serve alcohol outside of one-off events. Other ABCA deadlines, starting March 2nd, there's a new medical cannabis patient registration that will be 2 years long instead of 6. Registrants with the 6-year period before will continue to be valid until their expiration date on their registration. March 31st is a statutory deadline for all remaining unlicensed cannabis establishments that applied for a statutory open application period for them to have their retail or their internet retailer licenses activated. And ABCA will start to enforce illegal action on them on April 1st. Memorial Day is another extended hours of operation for ABCA places that have applied for it until 4 a.m. And then ABCA has a couple of different trainings coming up, one on May 12th at 10 a.m. They did an orientation for new ANC commissioners in February. That has passed, obviously, but the slide deck, a video recording, and additional information are available online. And then ABCA will be closed on the 16th of April for Emancipation Day. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Coughlin. Are there any questions? Anybody, commissioners, public? Not seeing any. We will move on to Committee on Public Safety and Health. Mr. Aaron Price, you're recognized.
Good evening, commissioners, and good evening, neighbors. For those of you new joining us, my name is Daniel Aaron Price. I am the chair for ANC 5F's Public Safety and Health Committee. Some updates for everyone. I'll start with community engagement. I had a wonderful meeting with Commissioner Zenjan to talk through some aspects of the community engagement strategy. One most interesting that we're going to explore is a potential meet and greet that we can all do as hopefully a commission within Althea Tanner Park. Probably in April is what we're looking for. We'll talk more about that at our upcoming meeting on Thursday, so appreciate the conversation on that. Additional to that is our community engagement strategy is going to be really focusing heavy on events within the area and surrounding ANC 5F. We are looking to do a good amount of outreach to a bunch of pre-identified events in the immediate area to ask some of those event organizers if we can table at those community events and start passing out some of the many flyers, which a big thank you to Commissioner Galvan for printing us hundreds and hundreds of flyers. My hands are tired from folding brochures, but that's a good problem to have. All that being said, so any block captains that are listening to this tonight, if you have been waiting for flyers due to this second printout, please expect an email from me soon once I finish folding those brochures, and then we'll schedule some times to meet up based on the identified amount of flyers that you would like to receive. From our previous commission meeting, I asked if commissioners could connect me with other ANC commissioners outside of the 5F area. So if you do have connections to other commissioners outside of ANC 5F, please make that e-connection with me. I would love to talk with other commissioners about the gun violence reduction resolution that we passed to see if we can get that passed in more ANCs across the district. A safety meet and greet, I do not know if this was brought up earlier, but MPD is planning a safety meet and greet at Alethea Tanner Park on March 25th at 6 p.m. So if you do want to speak with members of MPD in the 5D area, please come. So again, that's Alethea Tanner Park, March 25th at 6 p.m. I'm guessing that on the consent agenda, the reckless driving resolution is passed, if that's correct. So thank you all for passing that. Appreciate that. Our next resolution on the docket is focused on moped regulation. So we will be talking through that at our next meeting this Thursday. And speaking of which, our next meeting is this Thursday. So please come and join us. That's going to be Thursday, March 20th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. We always offer our meetings in a hybrid format. So if you're looking to attend in person, which I encourage you to do so, we are meeting in the same room we are at today. So that is the Judd and Wheeler Eckington Community Room. And there's also a virtual option to attend via Zoom, which is posted on our ANC 5F website. Leaving everybody with just a couple tips tonight. So again, thank you, Commissioner Galvan, as well as Shoshana, for providing me with this link. So the Department of Energy and the Environment is currently looking for community members that are interested in having a purple air sensor installed inside and outside of their homes. These purple air sensors monitor air pollution on a hyperlocal scale, and DOE is looking for more residents across the district to participate. It's a free program, so if you are interested in getting one of these, and DOE will install it for you, they will maintain it for you, all of that. The link to reach out, I will send over to Commissioner Jones so you can put it inside the meeting minutes. So keep an eye out for those meeting minutes to get that link as well. But it's a good way to monitor some of the air pollution, especially from Nudge Nudge, the asphalt plant that's nearby. So more neighbors are welcome to have this installed. And last but not least, this is touching on the point earlier, now is a better time than most to be contacting any and all members of the House of Representatives, especially Speaker Johnson's office, regarding the huge budget deficit that is to occur if we do not have that amendment to the CR that was passed. So please make calls to the House. Even if you are pushed away as a district resident and told to contact a representative, push back against that. It's more important than ever to ensure that we get this amendment passed to make sure we are budgeted correctly at the 2025 levels. That is all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aaron Price. I appreciate all your work on this. Do we have any other questions from commissioners or questions from the public? Melissa.
Hi, thanks again. You mentioned moped safety. I have a question about ATV safety. And I know recently, this past weekend, there was an incident with an ATV person striking an MPD officer. I know from living on Rhode Island Avenue, essentially, that there's a huge ATV presence. Is there any effort in the Public Safety Committee to address this? Obviously, we can't do it from an ANC perspective, but potentially like maybe writing a letter or a resolution or something like that. Just some kind of way to address ATV safety.
I appreciate that, Melissa. And I think with this moped regulation resolution, I have no doubt that we could tie in ATVs into that subject as well. So I feel like we can easily expand that. If you have any language that you would like included in that, I highly recommend that you reach out to me because I would love to place it inside the resolution. So any and all recommendations are welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aaron Price. Appreciate the update. All right, we will go to Transportation and Public Safety, Public Space Committee, Commissioner Sonic.
Yeah, we had a very productive March meeting. We discussed and modified and marked up 3 resolutions, all of which ANC 5F voted on today, including one for sidewalk improvements along 8th Street Northeast by the former Sunbelt building, calling for an additional crosswalk at 8th Street and Monroe to provide the east side crossing to the Arts Walk from the Edge Road dance space, as well as worked to get one across for S Street and 4th to improve pedestrian crosswalk striping. And we also provided very light assistance, may I add, to Commissioner Bishop Henchman's resolutions for various MBT and bus-related measures. So yeah, our meetings are the first Monday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Online only via Zoom. Details are available on our committee's page on ANC5F.com.
Wonderful. Thank you for the update. Do we have any questions from other commissioners, public?
Actually,
Yes.
I had a question. If I wanted to write resolution, like for the TAPS committee, to get insight on that.
Yep, that's what Commissioner Bishop Henchman did. He came in with a resolution capturing what he wanted, and then everyone just kind of like poked and prodded and like said, okay, this is more clear, can you just do something else? And people also bring the knowledge as to like how these things work. So yeah,
Okay.
come with, or even just like the idea of a resolution. And
Yeah.
I think that'll.
Okay, great. I'm not sure if maybe people didn't hear me, but I was just curious about developing a resolution. Some community members have reached out about some traffic issues and pedestrian safety on 4th Street and I think maybe Franklin. So I think having the TAPS committee insight would be great, and probably public health and safety also. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Jones. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll move right along to the Zoning and Development Committee. Mr. Stone, I just saw a message from Commissioner Bishop Henchman. Zoning Committee met to workshop some of the resolutions that were passed tonight. So thanks for everyone's effort on that, and there is no other update. We have Library Task Force update up next. Mr. Garrett, I don't.
No.
Sorry.
I did sit on part of it, so I can give a partial update.
Okay.
We're still waiting on like the next engagement from DCPL, but they chatted with Nick Sementelli, who wrote a lot about what an optimal library could look like for Edgewood and Edmonton, a piece in Greater Washington on it. And so they invited him to kind of discuss what a library could look like, what sort of community engagement should be done, and, or like what community engagement could look like. And there was also some discussion of like cautionary tales from his perspective as to what he thought, where he thought library engagement went awry, just to like help shape the task force engagement.
Oh, thank you for that update. I did not see any appointments. Sorry, are there any questions about the library task force? I don't think so. Yeah, good. All right, moving along to appointments to committees or task forces. I don't see any. Any other commissioners have any? I don't see any questions from commissioners. All right, we'll move to adjourn the meeting at, all right, we're 4 minutes late. Oh, sorry, almost. Commissioner Williams, saved by the bell.
Yeah, amen. This is not about the committee people. We should have received an email talking about Edgewood Day.
Yes.
And beautifying.
Yes.
Every year before the pandemic, we used to have Edgewood Day, which entailed beautification of the community. But we also had a budget that was implemented in our budget to give to each commissioner to designate how they want to beautify their single member district. I would like to put that on next month's agenda to have a discussion.
Okay. I'll
because we can bring that back.
Yes, and I believe the woman who reached out was on the call earlier. If not, she might still be on it. And I reached out to her separately. Commissioner Williams, I'd be happy to partner with you on that. So we'll plan to have that as a discussion for next meeting.
Okay. No problem.
Wonderful.
I just wanted to bring that up. I know I came in late. I didn't know if y'all had tapped into that or not.
Gotcha. No, we had not. So thanks for bringing that to our attention. All right.
All right. That's it for me.
Thank you so much. Move to adjourn. Any seconds?
Second, third, fourth, and fifth.
All right. This no objections. This meeting is adjourned at 9:06 p.m. Thank you very much.